Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm one who tends to make a list of subjects and say you're bereft, you're illiberally educated unless you've hit this subject. I tend to make a list of sort of, the fancy word is outcomes, but I don't like that word, sort of capacities. And you've been illiberally educated unless you have those capacities. And what got you to exercise those capacities, I think in a sense is uninteresting. Now every now and then I get too extreme with that. I once made a statement at the University of Chicago that I could teach a seminar on the telephone book. And I was taken up. A group of students said, we're willing to take the class if you're willing to teach it. And I said, well, I'm willing to teach it if you're willing to read the damn thing. And you have to allow me now to use the yellow pages. I mean, I cheated a little bit. And I did. I did a semester-long course and on what we could learn about American culture if you were an anthropologist who would give their right arm to have an archive like that from any other culture. You know, what are there a lot of, what are there a little of? What things do we decide to put pictures with? What don't we put pictures in? What kinds of pictures do we put with them? I mean, why does every sanitation department put the same picture of a garbage truck next to what it does? It was a wonderful class. We had a grand time. We went on for hours. And so, I mean, the issue to me is, I mean, that's a little extreme, but the issue to me is not what you're doing it on. And one of the values is this value of your capacity to see complexity and not be overcome by it, but to deal responsibly with complexity rather than either saying, oh my God, or I ain't going to look at it at all. If you've done that, I mean, that to me is what ethics, that's the ethical stance. If you're able to deal that, then I think you're a responsible citizen, and I've earned my paycheck that year. Well, I hate the word unique, obviously, because that's the one over against which is the blue. No, I don't think I'm unique at all. I think that people do that. Now, one of the issues always, I mean, you know, scholars, what do? They simply bring into articulation what are either, and therefore find interesting, what others just take to be common sense, or what others just do without opening their big mouths about it. And so, no, I think there are an awful lot of people who do this. Whether they would want to say self-consciously that is what they're doing is, it seems to me, another question. And part of what scholars do is to make articulate what we think you think you're doing when you do it. You know, it's the old story that any foreign speaker of a language knows that language's grammar better than any native speaker of the language. We just know how we're supposed to say English sentences. We couldn't give the rules by which we put them together if we tried. Somebody sitting over in Germany or Japan has painfully learned the rules. Now the trouble is they don't know why we break them, but they have painfully learned the rules. And in a way, there's a necessary estrangement to know why certain things are happening. And what scholars are professional estrangers. They go to people and listen very carefully to what they're saying, but then they translate them. They generalize out of them. They articulate them. That's our job. Once had an argument with Abe Heschel. Abe Heschel's definition of a prophet was he was a pain in the ass by the grace of God, and I said, would you accept the revision? He's a big mouth by the grace of God, and if you want, that's a professor. He's probably both, but in particular, he's a big mouth by the grace of God, and what he's trying to do is to articulate what is held somewhat inarticulate by the subjects he studies. That's his job. It's not a big job. It's not an earth-shattering job. I think it's a useful job.